YouTube, it's your boy Jerome, and I'm here today with a review for Married to Madison Season 6, Episode number 13. It's titled, or is it 12? It's 13, and it's titled Heavenly Second Chances. So without further ado, we are going to start the video. All right, so before I even get started, I'm gonna talk about some stuff that happened this week. And the biggest thing that happened this week with the Married to Medicine ladies was they filmed a reunion on Friday, and they released the seating chart, which I did not completely 100% understand that seating chart. I understood some of it, but I didn't understand a big part of it. So Andy Cohen, he said in the center, and then I'm gonna go from right to left. So on the right side, you have Simone, which I don't really understand why Simone is sitting right next to Andy. And on the side of Simone, you have Mariah. Didn't understand that one either. And then at the end, you have Toya. I absolutely understand Toya because Toya didn't have a really big, her storyline wasn't significantly that big, nor was her drama with Contessa. It was really stupid. So I understand that one. And then on the left-hand side, you got Jackie, you got Heavenly, you got Quad, and then there's Contessa, which I understand Contessa as well, Yeah, she had her, her storyline about taking her breast out. That's a good storyline, but the drama between she and Toya was just minuscule compared to the other ladies. And I guess the reason why Jackie and Simone are sitting right beside Andy is because Andy does like those two, so I do know that. But I would have thought he would have had at least Heavenly or Quad closer on the left-hand side and Mariah on the right-hand side. But, it is what it is. And I also did hear that at the reunion, Dr. G and Quad met up for the first time, so I'm interested to see how that goes. And then I did hear that Simone and Heavenly got into it at the reunion. I'm not sure how true that is, but I'm anxious to see this reunion, how it went, because we do remember that a few weeks ago on Watch What Happens Live, when Quad was on there with Tamar, she was telling Mariah that she's ready to see her at the reunion, and there's some other people that she wants to see at the reunion, which I'm pretty sure she was talking about Simone and Toya, because both Toya and Simone had something to say about her previously on Watch What Happens Live. And then, we had the following week where Mariah was on there with T-Pain, and Mariah was, saying that Quad don't have to wait to see her at the reunion. She can see her anytime. And, how Aiden told Mariah to bring the receipts with her to the reunion. So I'm really interested to see how all that stuff plays out. So now we are actually going to get into the actual show that was on last night. All right, so this episode, it pretty much opens back up where it ended last week, was with the screaming match between Contessa and Simone. Simone is talking about welcoming Contessa back to the group. She's like, I had surgery. And then, she's talking about stop using that. It seems like you're using that to be a victim. And I don't think that Contessa is using that as her being a victim. I think she's just saying, shit, bitch, y'all keep saying welcoming me back to the group like I didn't have surgery. And I get where Contessa's coming from. But for Simone to, go off the way she did and start screaming, it's like, God damn, Simone, do you always have to scream? It's like every time you look at Simone, it's like she's screaming at somebody. If it's not Cecil, she's screaming at one of the other women. And it's just like, damn, Simone, do your vocal cords, like, do they hurt? Do you ever get hoarse? Like something, because you do the most for absolutely no reason. And then the men over here, and they're like, oh shit, they're out there arguing. So then, Simone gets up and walks away. And when she walks away, Cecil tries to calm Simone down. And then Scott comes up to Simone and says something to her. And then Simone starts screaming at him. And then you got Contessa over there. She starts screaming at her, talking about, don't talk to my husband like that. And then Simone's like, I guess her titties don't hurt no more. And I'm like, oh my God, like, really? Like, I don't understand these group of women. Like, how can you be friends with somebody that you guys pretty much always argue with? Like, that has got to be draining and tiring to be a friend with somebody. But most of the time, y'all sitting here screaming, yelling at each other. Like, I would be over that shit at a certain point. It's like, you know what? We can be friends, but, the screaming got to stop. Like, I can't deal with that bullshit. Like, you too fucking loud. So I don't understand how they deal with that shit. So, Contessa is still talking, and then, Heavenly tells her, shut the fuck up, pretty much. So then Contessa goes over there, I mean, not Contessa, but Heavenly tries to go over there and get Simone. So Simone does come back over there where Contessa is, and Jackie is talking to Contessa, trying to calm Contessa down. So then, basically, and Simone, she apologizes to Contessa, and Contessa's like, you call me a bitch, And then you sat there and said, I'm a victim. She said, I am nobody's victim. She said, I did the surgery so that I wouldn't be victim to anything ever in my life, you know. And I get where contestants coming from. And for them to try to play it off as if she did this shit so that she didn't have to be around Toya, like, who the fuck is Toya for anybody not to want to be around her? Like, I don't get that. Like, y'all want to sit here and say the reason why contestant hadn't been around in these 3 weeks is maybe because she wants to avoid Toya. Fuck Toya. That's how I feel. Fuck Toya. She's not that important. Like, the girl had surgery. Like, she had to stay down for a few weeks so her breast could heal. And y'all want to make this about Toya? Of all people, Toya. What the hell ever? Like, oh my God. So then you got Eugene and Scott, and they talking, and you know, Eugene is just telling him, basically, the women can't get over stuff as easily as the men. But then, you know, in their interviews, Eugene and both Curtis said that Scott is new to the group and that he should just, you know, let the women handle their shit, which is definitely true, because we've all said that about, you know, Real Housewives of Atlanta when it came to Peter and women's drama. Let the women handle the women's shit and stay the hell out of it. So finally, these hungry, angry, hangry women go and get some fucking food. I'm like, God damn, that's all y'all needed was some food to calm yourselves down. And, you know, when they're doing this, Mariah takes it upon herself to apologize to Damon, you know, for every, you know, dragging him into the middle of her issues with Heavenly, which I appreciated that. I like that she apologized to him. And, you know, Damon apologized, you know, accepts her apology, and Heavenly also accepts the apology. I'm like, Heavenly, I don't believe she was talking to you, but, you know, I'm glad it didn't go any further than that. And then, you know, he gets up and hugs her, and Mariah tells him, you know, you ain't got to worry about me saying nothing else about, you know, your marriage. I'm like, yeah, you said this before you went on Watch What Happens Live, because on Watch What Happens Live, you said that Aiden told you to bring the receipts to the reunion, so that truce died. So then, you know, they went and had this dance off, and it was like really, truly awkward to see Damon. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, looking like, I don't know what he was looking like. But, you know, that was it for that. It, you know, the boat trip ended perfectly, despite all the bullshit that happened on, you know, when they first got on the boat. All right, so next we move over to the dinner. So, you know, Toya's letting them know what's going to happen at dinner. So they're going to eat, and then they're going to do a marriage therapy. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go with this shit. So, you know, we do see that earlier in the day, Toya asked Heavenly to, you know, do a redo of the couples therapy that she did last year. So, you know, then they get to the dinner, you know, they get to the dinner, and, you know, they eating their food, and then you got Simone over ordering a rum Coke, but she wants a lot of rum in it. I'm like, I was with Eugene, like, why do you have to keep saying rum, rum, rum? And she was like, shut up and kiss your wife. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So, you know, Toya is telling the group again that they're doing the couples therapy, and Mariah was like, you know, I don't think we should do that. Like, you know, the boat trip ended perfectly. Like, let's leave it on a high note and don't do that. And then, you know, Eugene is like, I think that on every couples trip, we should at least do some kind of couples activity. And Mariah's like, you know what, I agree. So then we see Heavenly. She gets up from her chair and she leaves. And then she's gone for a while, and everybody's like, well, where did Heavenly go? Like, you know, they tell Damon to go check on him. And then Toya says, I know where she went. She's meeting us at the beach. So then they go down to the beach, and there is Heavenly there. So Heavenly is telling us that she knows why the you know, couples therapy fell so miserably last year. The reason why it fell so miserably because she didn't allow any other couple to ask her questions about her marriage with Damon. And I don't understand why, because I'm like, your marriage is not perfect. You may want to say it's perfect, but no, there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. So this time, Heavenly says that she will allow the, you know, group to ask her questions, but she doesn't want Damon to chime in or answer the questions at all. So, you know, we get Jackie. She's the first. So Jackie asks a question. You know, she says, you know, we always hear Heavenly talk about how she submits to Dr. Damon, and she says, is it an actual submission, or do you allow him to think that you are actually submitting to him? So then Heavenly says that she respects him, and, you know, he's a leader. You know, he's a leader, but he doesn't lead with domination. He actually leads with Karen. And, you know, she says that she feels like they both submit to one another. And she says she feels like it's God first, then her husband, and then her family, which I kind of like that. So then Simone gets up and asks a question. When they have a disagreement about disciplining the kids, how do they work with that? So basically, Heavenly says that when it comes down to it, she feels that Dr. Damon is a better father than she is a mother. And he says, don't say that. He feels like she's a good mother. And, she says that he spends more time with the kids. And I guess, kind of like with Contessa, she has a mommy guilt because she, has built her practice. And like I said, he spends more time with the kids. He talks to the kids a lot more than she does. He's more interactive with the kids. So, and, it's opposite with Simone because Simone says that Cecil is a friend to the kids, whereas she is the more disciplinary parent. So, they work that out. Well, Miles is grown, so shit, you can't discipline him, but, or is it the oldest one? I can't remember which one is which. The oldest one, you ain't got to really discipline him, but the youngest one, yeah, I guess, well, hell, you ain't going to be able to discipline him for much longer because he's a teenager. He's probably about to be out of, high school pretty soon. So then, Contessa, she asked a question, what are the top three things that makes Heavenly's marriage successful? So she says, respect and trust, and of course, sex. And I'm just like, damn, Heavenly, like, I get it that, you please him sexually, but if I was an outsider who just watched the show for the first time, I would literally think that that's all you have to offer to Dr. Damon is the puss and your mouth, like, because that's all you pretty much talk about when it comes down to anything with anybody's marriage and they having problems. You talk about having sex. Like, sex is not everything. There's a lot more to a relationship than sex. So, like I said, from an outsider looking in, you would think that that's all Heavenly has to offer to Dr. Damon is puss and mouth. Really. So then Quad gets up and asks the question. So she was like, well, how long have you and Dr. Damon been married? She says 20 years. And how long is Damon Jr.? 20. So then Quad says, did you trap daddy? And I thought that was like a little bit of a rude question to sit there and ask in front of him. I did not like that question whatsoever. But, Heavenly says, yeah, I trapped him. She said, because when I got married, I was 5 months pregnant. So then Dr. Damon gets him and says, well, buddy, you didn't trap me. I knew that you were going to be my wife. And, I wanted to be there for my kids. My dad wasn't there for me. So I definitely wanted to be there for my kids. And I knew that when I got married, that I was going to be there forever. So I had to pick the best person to marry. And I did like the fact that he said that. But like I said, I just did not like that question. I thought that question was a little rude to ask. Like, did she trap him in front of her husband? Like, they've been married for 20 years. So if it was a trap, it's a trap that has lasted 20 years. So that question should have been null and void. All right, so now they are getting ready to go to a food drive, and it's a free blood pressure test. And I love Married to Medicine when they do stuff like this. When the doctors, go out into the community and help the people. Even when the women go out and help people, it's nice to see this as opposed to just seeing drama, 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 drama. It's nice to see something even toned. So we saw all the doctors, they were doing a blood pressure test, and they were asking each person that came to them, if they were on any kind of medication. They were asking them about, everything. I really truly like that. Now, digging to Dr. Eugene, he was doing this woman's blood pressure. Her blood pressure was extremely high. And Dr. Eugene was like, I'm not worried about her. It's not her blood pressure that I'm worried about. It's the fact that she's having chest pains on top of this high blood pressure. And he just wanted to make sure that she wasn't having, the big one. Sorry, I didn't mean, I had to do it. Yeah, he was worried that so he did an EKG. And it turns out she wasn't having a heart attack, which thank God she wasn't. But he did sit there and he started asking her about her medication that she was taking, and she did say she wasn't taking it, and she just stopped taking it because she didn't like the side effects of it. Which I get that when you look at these medicine bottles and you look at all the side effects of them, it's like, God damn, like, why do I want to take this shit? Like, irritable bowel syndrome. You may grow facial hair if you're a woman. You may do this, and that. It's just like, what the fuck do I want to take this shit for? But you want to take it to get better. And, you see this a lot in the African American community, and you see it a lot with older people. Like, my grandmother and my great-great-grandmother were both kind of the same. They really, truly did not like going to the hospital. And I guess that's where I get that from myself, watching those two women who loved them to death. They were both stubborn. And, when it came down to it, they feel like, they can beat the colds or whatever they have. And I actually do that to this day. Sometimes I get, sick and I'm like, I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to get put on medication because I feel like, the cold will just run its course and I ain't got to deal with it, or I can do a home remedy or anything like that. And, so just looking at that woman, it made me think to myself, when you do get sick, it is good to go to the doctor and get the medication. Despite all the side effects that they have, the medicine is there to help us. So then, the woman, because Dr. Eugene wanted her to stay there, so he can, see if she needs to take her medicine right then. And she was more so concerned about her neighbor. She wanted to take her home, and Dr. Eugene was like, "Well, if I can get somebody to take her home, would you stay?" So he got Quad and was that Curtis or was that Cecil? It was Curtis who took her home. And when he was talking to the woman about her medicine, she started to break down and cry, and I really did feel bad for her. And he was just, I did like the fact that Dr. Eugene was so caring with her, and telling her about his issues that he had last year when he stopped taking his medicine and how the group got on him. And to make her feel so much better and put her at ease, he had Dr. Aiden come over and take his blood pressure, and I truly, truly did like that. It shows what a great doctor Dr. Eugene is. It actually shows what a great doctor all of them are, you know. So I really, truly love seeing stuff like this on Marriage and Medicine. It was, you know, educational for me for one. Like I said, because like I said, I'm a person who don't like to take medicine. I don't really like going to the doctor sometimes. So it just opened my eyes up to a lot of stuff that I could do better about myself and my life. All right, so we have the final dinner. Simone and Cecil are hosting this one. And Cecil, he looks good in his outfit. Like, I'm like, you need to take your wife dressing shopping with you when you go shopping, because she dresses like somebody that is Amish, who don't have a mirror, don't have any kind of modern technology to look at herself in the mirror. But we're gonna move on from that. So then we had Cecil, Quad, and Simone. They were all sitting together, and they were talking about what's going on between Quad and Dr. G. And Quad is, talking about how she is a little dreadful of what's going to happen with her divorce. And I like the advice that Simone gave her. She's like, don't be dreadful. She's like, you have an end goal in there. So when you go in to get this divorce, have that end goal in mind. And that end goal is you want out of the marriage. Like, don't go in there trying to fight for this and this and that, because that's only going to prolong the divorce. If y'all keep fighting each other for stuff, it's just going to make the divorce even longer. So I definitely like that advice that Simone gave to her. So then, they go and join the rest of the group. So Simone tells the group that she wants to have one more exercise, and they're like, oh shit, here we go again with another couples thing. But this one is Simone wants the ladies to, in the shell, say their negative thing about their marriage or their partner, and they're gonna throw it in the water, and they're gonna leave it right there. So Simone goes first, and Simone wants to leave the whole thing behind her with with Cecil and his best friend. Now, I can't remember how long Cecil and his best friend were friends for, but I'm definitely going through a situation similar to that. My best friend and I, we've been friends for over 14 years. And at this point in our friendship, it's not suffering, we're at a roadblock right now because her husband feels some type of way about me, and I don't know why, but that's something that I'm trying to figure out how to deal with. And the funny part is, when it comes to my best friend and her husband, I was the one who advocated for her dating him, and I was actually the one who advocated for her marrying him. So I just find it a little odd, but I'm gonna move on from that. And then we get some Heavenly. She goes next, and Heavenly's like, I can't think of anything negative about my husband or my marriage. So she's like, I guess the fact that he leaves the toilet seat up and doesn't flush. And Simone gets mad and like, you know what? If you're not gonna take this seriously, then go on to Toya. So basically, I'm just gonna cluster all the women together. I'm not gonna go down the line of what each woman said. Basically, they all just want to do better in their marriages, and then they all go and throw them in the water, and that was the end of the episode. So that was Marriage Medicine. Like this video, Leave your comments below and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys later on tonight for The Real Housewives of Atlanta.